Hello and welcome back. In the last lesson, we created a new Rails app called To-Do. In this lesson, we'll create a listings table where we'll list all the to-dos and an associated model, which will need to have our Rails app communicate with the listings table. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our table. So first, make sure you're in the To-Do application. And there, we're going to type in Rails generate migration create underscore listings, because we're going to create a table called listings. Okay, so we see that it invoked active record and it created this file, this create listings.rb migration file. So let's go ahead and find out where it is. So under your Rails projects over here, this is your application to do. Under DB, migrate, and I'm going to expand this a little bit. There's your migration file that just got created. Okay, so here we're going to add a column. Okay, so actually we're going to create the table with one single column that's called descriptions, and it will also have an ID column that'll be automatically added, which will be the primary key, but we don't have to worry about that. Rails will automatically add that. So type in T, we're gonna have this as text, and then description, because all we need is a description of our to-do for our simple application. Okay, so t.text description, and then save this. Now to create the table, type in rake db : migrate. All right, it created the table called listings. To check that out, over here we should have a schema. So if I go refresh file tree, there it is, schema.rb. Now over here you see that we have this table called listings, and it has one column that we added, which is description, and it also has a primary key ID column as well. All right. Now we have to create the associated model. So let's go and create that. So under to do, in your app directory, there's models folder. Over here, right click and then new file. Now here we created the table called listings. Okay, all small caps and listings plural. The model name has to be singular of that table name. Okay, and that's Rails convention. So we're going to call it listing.rb singular. Okay, and hit return. So there it is, it's created. Now open up, and the class name has to be camel case. Okay, so the first letter has to be caps, so listing, right? And this is again Rails convention. Table names are snake case and plural, and model names by convention need to be camel case, and the first letter needs to be uppercase. Okay, so class listing, and they have to be singular. Subclass from active record base end. And that's it. Now we have enough information created to go ahead and test out our table and our connections. So let's type in your terminal Rails console. Okay, now type in listing with a capital L dot all. Okay, we see that this is working. It's returning an empty array-like structure. So now let's go ahead. If you want to see the columns that you have for the listing table, just type in listing, and then you'll see the two columns. The primary key, which Rails automatically added, which is ID of type integer, and the description of type text, which we added when we created the table. Okay, so let's create a new listing. To create one, type in listing.create, open bracket, description, colon, and then space, and within quotes, we're gonna type in, let's say, do dishes. That'll be a to do, and then close quotes, close bracket, hit enter, and we see that this transaction was created. Okay, now if I type in listing.all, you see that we have one to do. Okay, so let's try that again. Let's create another listing. So capital L, listing.create, description, we'll say do groceries. Okay, so that worked also. Let's type in listing.all. Whoops, I think we made an error. Okay, listing.all with two L's, right? So listing.all. Okay, great. So now we have two listings. Okay, perfect. So our table seems to be connected and the listing model seems to be working correctly. So I'll exit out of the console. All right. So that's what I wanted to cover in this lesson. Next, we'll cover routes, controllers, and views. See you there.